All right, let's ask Ron Higgins. Ron's appearance brought to you in part by Craft Treats. I'll say more about Craft Treats here momentarily. But Ron joins us now. Ron, we were kicking around the idea of a gray out at Tennessee. You covered a lot of Tennessee games for those that don't know for the Memphis Commercial Appeal. Now with Tiger Details, give us a preview of LSU. And what do you think about a gray out for the stadium?
Well, first of all, I hate Tennessee's gray uniforms. Hate them. Hate them. They're the worst uniform combination they have. This just simply is. Okay, I mean, there's better combinations than that. I even like their white uniforms better with the orange numbers with the black outline. I mean, it's kind of bold looking. If I'm going to alter, but I don't know how gray gets in there as an alternate uniform for Tennessee. It's not a good look. It looks dingy. Looks like they hadn't washed them.
It looks, you know what it looks like, Ron, is we had some gravel spread in my driveway and they were not nice enough to tell me to move my car. And I just had my car washed the day before and it's a black car and it was gray. It was
Yeah,
completely gray with dust.
I'm not a big fan of their gray uniform, but I guess some people are. You know,
I like it.
well, it's there. It just I don't know. I also look from a media standpoint. It's always difficult to read numbers on gray uniforms. Southern, it just really is. Southern University in Baton Rouge kind of had a gray. They had the worst looking uniform I've ever seen for a game against LSU a few weeks ago. You couldn't read anything. Of course, they played so bad you didn't want to know who they were anyway. So,
It's on purpose.
yeah, on purpose. That way, when you're down, 35-0 in the first quarter, nobody wants to know your name. So, yeah, I'm not a big fan of the gray. Uh, and I don't know what you can do for alternate uniforms. Have they worn black before? Or
Yeah, that was Lane Kiffin. That was the infamous Lane Kiffin night.
yeah, and I don't know if the black would do well either. It's kind of like a Halloween outfit, black and orange.
It was on Halloween and they beat
It
South
was.
Carolina.
There
Uh,
you go.
but it looked like you and I got together and just sewed it ourselves. It was thrown
It,
together in like a week. It looked horrible.
see, I mean, LSU really doesn't have alternate uniforms. I mean, they're pretty straight. They'll change some pants up and some helmets up, but their jerseys are always white, 98% of the time, and purple. When they usually they wear purple for the second. I think it's the second non-conference game they play every year. LSU wears white at home, of course, as you know, it's against. Uh, they have permission from the NCAA to do that, and then they always get it cleared with the opposing team if they can go ahead and wear white at home in Tiger Stadium, so it works out well. But they never deviate from that. They one time they had a gold jersey top way back when. People didn't like it. It wasn't that bad, but people didn't like it. Uh, but most time LSU wears their white jersey, gold pants, gold helmet. But sometimes they'll break out of white jerseys and white pants and white helmet. They've done that. They have a few combinations, but they never deviate from the jersey other than white or purple.
I would make an argument that LSU, from an objective standpoint, has the best uniforms, and then we'll move on to football. But the best uniforms in the SEC.
A lot of people like them, yeah. They like the clean look of the uniform. They like the colors. Uh, they like the shoulder stripes. It is a good looking uniform. But uniforms aren't going to win this game. Unfortunately for LSU, uniforms are going to win the game.
Well, and and let's get to that. By the way, let me ask you real quick though. What are your favorite uniforms in all of football, college football?
I really like LSU a lot. But you know what? LSU, I like UCLA, but LSU based theirs on UCLA. That's the truth. You go back to the 50s, late 50s when LSU switched to those uniforms that they have now. I mean, Paul Dietzel, LSU's coach in the late 50s, based the look on the UCLA uniforms. And let me tell you, when LSU and UCLA played in last year's season opener, it was spectacular. because LSU had their white unis, and UCLA had their blue. They're like not powder blue, but it's a little bit darker, and it was a uniform spectacular. Really, it was. It was a beautiful day in the Rose Bowl. Everything went well, except LSU played like crap. So, and I always feel for all the fans who go to games, who spend their money, they go lonely for games, and their team plays like crap. I feel bad for them, because if I was in the stands and having paid that money to watch that, I'd be telling my friend, my wife, what the hell are we doing here? Well, watch this garbage. They're going to come out and play like this. What kind of garbage is this? Hand me that drink. I always think of the fans when that happens. I see the team travel and play a really bad road game. I think of the fans who invested their time and their money to drive or fly to see it. That's the first thing I think of. God, would I even want to be there for this stuff if I was a fan?
And you can't go out at night because everybody's going to make fun of you and say, "Oh, you made the trip and you got beat." So you just have to go to your hotel and sulk.
Oh yeah, you just go through a McDonald's drive-through and kind of slink through the back door of the Motel 6, and like, is nobody going to see me? And you check out. You check out at 6 a.m. You just kind of, you don't even check out. You go straight to your car because you can do that now. It's like, let's go, honey. Now let's go. So.
Yeah, it's like you're Robert Kraft.
Wow.
Sneaking in and out of the masseuse parlor.
Yeah.
Ron's appearance brought to you in part by our friends at Craft Treats. They've got the chill pills that will take care of your pet. And I want to get you some chill pills because you've got the which Bichon is it now?
Oh, Skippy is high energy, baby. Skippy is just like put it this way, I have a sweatshirt and he's eating it bit by bit,
Does Skippy was it Buffy or which was the one that had its own Facebook page?
That was Buddy the Wonder Bichon. Yeah, he has his own, and Skippy makes appearances on there. Yeah.
Okay, well, we can get you some chill pills from Craft Treats. So if your dogs ever have social anxiety, or maybe they're getting older like my dog, then they can take care of you with the CBD cannabinoids. I'm not kidding. I'll send you out some. How about that?
I'm going to give my dog cannabis and get him high. That's good. I like that. He won't even bark. He'll just go, "Hey man, woof, 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 dude."
Cheech and dog.
Like, hey man, I'm really hungry. Where's the food, man?
Go to crafttreats.com and don't forget that you can save 20% if you use the exclusive code off the hook. Crafttreats.com off the hook. It'll take care of your pet, make your wallet happy too. Ron, you seem to think that this is a game that Tennessee should win, and they would have to, based off our conversation last night, they would have to make mistakes to lose. Tell me how you see this game, 20,000-foot view.
Well, first of all, I think the people setting the line in Las Vegas have been smoking crack. 3.5 points, really? 2.5 points? That's what it is?
Yeah.
Really? Have they seen LSU try to throw the ball? LSU averages 7 yards of completion. They got a quarterback as fast as he is and as great as he is at making plays with his legs. He is still reluctant to throw the ball downfield. Tennessee may put everybody on the line of scrimmage because this guy will not throw the ball downfield. No matter what Brian Kelly has done to try to get this guy to throw the ball downfield. I mean, there's receivers who are open. The guy doesn't want to throw it to them. And subsequently, they're a one-dimensional offense. The running games, it's okay. It's nice. It's all right. But you're not going to beat Tennessee with a one-dimensional offense. And LSU now, I realize Tennessee is giving up some big plays. I get that. But if LSU gets big plays on Tennessee, it's going to be off of slip screens and slants and stuff like that. It's not going to be going 15, 20 yards downfield to air. I don't know if this he just Jayden Daniels will not throw the ball downfield. Maybe this is a game he does, but the fact that he's skittish to throw the ball downfield is worrisome because this guy has now started 34 college games, 29 at Arizona State and 5 at LSU, and he still won't throw the ball down that damn field. And he's got some of the best receivers in the nation. Keyshawn Butte, a preseason first-team All-American, was targeted twice at Auburn last year. Twice. I mean, this guy's open. They got other guys who are open. This guy he will not throw it to him. He's not comfortable enough to throw it to him. But LSU has other options. Your backup quarterback, Garrett Nussmeier, he doesn't give you the best chance to win because he doesn't move as well as Daniels does. So LSU's kind of in a dilemma quarterback-wise. I know Tennessee fans are going, yeah, right. He's telling us a bunch of crap because we heard this with Anthony Richardson before. Yeah, can't throw the ball. Sure. Well, if this is the week he does it, this is the week he does it. But at Auburn last week, it hit an all-time low because LSU had to rally from 17-0, and they scored their first touchdown off a defensive fumble. And then what happens? LSU all of a sudden at the end of the first half of games, they scored in the last drive of the first half. I think the last 3 games maybe. It's like all of a sudden they're like, okay, we got to wake up. Let's go. And I don't know if it's the fact that they up their tempo or teams play a prevent defense, which is an absolute the wrong thing to do against LSU because Daniels will kill you with his legs.
Yeah.
I mean, you play a prevent. I mean, there's been so many drives this year, those last minute drives in the first half where they've gone 80 yards and probably 40 of them or 50 are his runs because they're dumb enough to go cover LSU's receivers, and he'll just take off running and just get massive gains. That's LSU's offense, and really is that they send receivers out, people are open. He doesn't throw it. He runs against massive gains. That's LSU's offense right now. Their defense has played really well. They had some busts last week. Had a new guy in the secondary who hadn't played yet, and there's some communication problems. But for the most part, their defense has been pretty good. Their special teams plays awful. Kelly says it's gotten better. Maybe it has, but last week they had 4 penalties. Special teams. So field goal kicker is shaky. The punter's really good. The return game is getting better, but there's still too many penalties and stuff like that. So 2.5 point favorite, 3.5 point, whatever it is. I don't know. I don't see that. And I know it's Tiger Stadium. And listen, the 11 o'clock start's not going to matter to LSU. They've won the last 5 or 6 times they play 11 o'clock.
Yep.
It's a matter. It's a matter of which team right now is further along in its program as far as under a relatively new coach. I'm going to be honest. LSU has better talent. They do. I mean, their recruiting classes, they have better talent. That doesn't necessarily going to win this game. I think the team that really is further along in rebuilding under its coach, the team with a much better quarterback, a team with an offense that puts up points. I just don't see Tennessee losing this game, and I don't see Tennessee not covering a spread. I just don't. I mean, I just think that's incredibly low.
Ron Higgins, join us with TigerDetails.com. Before Amanda reminds me, hit that subscribe, like, and share button. Be sure and do that so we can be a part of your Tennessee and SEC coverage. Amanda, jump in there.
So if in fact LSU does pull this off, let's just go worst case scenario for Tennessee fans. How do you see them doing it other than just giving up big plays to Daniels with his legs? What will they have to do to pull off this win?
So LSU?
Yes.
Daniels will have to stay in the pocket and actually throw to receivers. Guys are going to get open. LSU's got really, really, really good receivers, all of them. But you got to get them the ball, and you got to be patient and stay in the pocket. Against New Mexico, he did that, and he was like 22 of 28, and he looked great. And then he comes out against Auburn, and I just kind of went back to the way he was the first few games where I understand. Look, he's so fast, and then last week he got banged up a bit at the end of the game. I think he got a bursa sack injury. And the only time I ever heard a bursa sack injury was Peyton Manning getting hurt.
Yep.
Before the Orange Bowl game, he got hurt in the SEC championship game way back when. It really dates me. Shows how ancient I am.
He was on. If you remember, he was on Letterman too, and his knee was as big as a soccer ball. He was on Letterman before it, so Nebraska's like, "Oh, well, we know to go after him." But anyway, sorry to get you started.
He's been practicing, so he's okay. But that said, if he needs to stay in the pocket and hit his receivers and give LSU balance on the offense. If he does that, LSU's got a shot. But they got to figure some way to slow down Hendon Hooker. Any quarterback who's I know he runs the ball well too. So, but I just think for LSU's sake, they got to figure some way to make him move in the pocket or throw his timing off in his passing or make him uncomfortable. I don't know if Tennessee's going to win necessarily with a run game. I just think they've got to make Hooker uncomfortable, and Daniels has to really stay in the pocket and hit receivers. And that's the way LSU can win this game. But maybe they can make Hooker uncomfortable, but Daniels has to improve vastly from the last game for LSU got a shot here. But again, LSU makes too many mistakes elsewhere. Most of the time, if you don't have offensive balance, you can win with a run game as long as your special teams are good. And LSU's special teams haven't been good.
Ron, this LSU secondary made Auburn just look incredible last week, and I was pretty taken aback by how open their receivers were at times. Is that a chemistry growing together issue, or is that a talent issue? Because we think of LSU as DBU.
It's a chemistry issue, talent. They're trying to get used to each other. 5 of their 6 cornerbacks they have are transfers. I mean, and so they'll be introduced to each other. Not brought for very long.
My name is Dave.
And their safeties are relatively new. And some of the guys, and they've had some injuries, so they've had to stick some guys in there. Last week, they one of the issues was they added a new safety, Joe Fouché from Arkansas. And in the world of college athletics is now LSU traded 2 defensive players to Arkansas for 2 defensive players in the offseason. One of them was Greg Brooks, who made the interception at the end, kind of steal the victory for LSU. The other one is Joe Fouché, who'd been sitting out because of some transcript problems when he transferred. So last week was his first game. So there were some communication problems. Receivers haven't run that wide open against LSU like that this year. That was the first time. The only other time I saw that was last year. Listen, when Bo Nix transferred to Oregon, LSU was happy because Bo Nix made a living off the LSU. Not anybody else in that seat, just LSU. But last week, I mean, they ran open, and I think it was Kelly said it was a communication problem. I agree. There's some new guys back there because their talent is on in the second. It's actually pretty good, but not on the level that has been with the guys before they recruited. But they'll get back to that. They've got some good guys committed.
Amanda, you want to jump in there?
Oh, I thought I just did, but I can jump in there again.
Oh, okay. Well, it's up to you. But Brandon says, Ron, has anyone ever told you that you sound like Jack Hanna, the animal guy? I've never heard that before.
I haven't heard that either. No, I've been mistaken for him. I've been mistaken. I've been mistaken for Rutger Hauer, the actor. I've been mistaken for Jack Sigma.
Who is it that I get all the time, Amanda?
Megan Rapinoe.
No, it's not Megan Rapinoe. That was somebody making fun of me because I lost weight at SEC Media Days. No, The actor, the actor.
James Woods, a young James Woods.
Yeah, do I look
he
like a
loves
young
it.
James Woods?
Like a young, a little bit. I mean, you need to be even thinner in the face. He's almost gaunt. You know?
Yes.
Yeah.
He
I'll tell
loves
you what
it.
I'll tell you what my one Jack Hanna story if you got a second. So this was back in 2005 when Philip Fulmer was catching some heat, if you remember, and Jack Hanna came out publicly and said that he was supporting Philip Fulmer, which well, great. And so I went through all kinds of venues to get Jack Hanna on the show, and it was 7 minutes of fluff so I could get to one question, and the question was, if Philip Fulmer was an animal, what animal would he be?
Yogi Bear?
No. Jack Hanna took a second and he said,
Pumpkin?
That's a good question. That's he said,
vegetable.
He said, that's a good question. He goes, I just think he'd be like a big old walrus.
Oh my God.
An orca.
Oh,
An orca.
That's just brutal.
He said, but he meant it in a complimentary way because people don't know it. Walruses seem docile, but can be very violent and attack.
Wow.
No.
You're up on your walrus knowledge.
I got it from Jack in that one interview.
I didn't know you were the world's foremost walrus expert. Other than the Beatles song, I didn't know you were or the golfer nicknamed the Walrus. Craig Stadler? Is that it? Okay, the Walrus.
Yes, it was Craig Stouter. It's a good reference.
Wow.
Ron, as far as Brian Kelly getting this program under wraps after a really shaky start in the opener, how much credit do you give him? Because this could have been a team that he lost, but it doesn't appear that that's the case.
I'll give him a lot of credit. I mean, he's very good. I mean, he's just really good about the way he handles himself, handles things, and constantly, talking to his team and preaching certain things. I mean, just and he's very honest about their team. He just and he was. I guess that's what I like about him, that he calls it like he sees it, and what he sees is the truth. He's said all year. Now we've played with a lot of heart, a lot of grit, and it's great, but that's not going to get it done against these teams we're playing up. Tennessee, and we're coming up Tennessee and Florida, Ole Miss, Alabama. The heart and grit's not going to win games. I mean, you got to execute. You got to do the right things. I mean, you've got to take care of the details. You can't be sloppy. I really like that. I like a guy who's like, yeah, you're right. And I think he's likable as a coach because he doesn't insult the fans' intelligence. I mean, LSU fans see the same things he's seeing. Yeah, they play a lot of heart and grit, but why the hell they falling behind 17 zip? Why they keep falling behind? Why don't they start playing in the second half offensively? I mean, yeah, they have a lot of heart and grit, but what the hell's going on in the first half? And he sees that and he's trying to correct it. Believe me, he's constantly talks to his team about stuff. I mean, they work in practice on stuff, and yeah, the players have faith in him. They like what he says. They like the way he handles things. They like the way he runs practices. They like everything about him. They just got to get again. They're in a formative stage of a program that was hit the skids. When Ed Orgeron, like I said, took the lottery money, and when he got a new contract right after they won the national championship, and he divorced his wife and decided the next 2 years he's going to have a hell of a good time and force LSU to pay him $17 million so he can go around flexing in bars with his shirt off. I mean, basically what happened, and we lost control of the program, and now they got a guy who's totally opposite of him, a guy who's a proven winner as far as a track record of consistent winning, who is kind of like the total opposite of Ed Orgeron. A lot, like I said, a lot like Nick Saban in demeanor and approach. We have a plan. We develop the plan. We stick to the process no matter what, and we see how we can get our players better. And the straightforward answers. He's a lot like Saban in that sense.
That's not a bad thing to be a lot like Saban, especially if you're, in a coach, especially if it's at LSU. You kind of, I mean, that's the last time I think LSU had a good coach. Honestly, I don't like Les Miles. I don't think Les Miles is very good, to be honest.
Well, that's a pretty good assessment. I mean, I don't think Les Miles is very good either. I mean, Les Miles wasn't on coherent a lot of the times. I believe. Look, just if you go back to the last game LSU played in Tennessee in Tiger Stadium, when LSU. Tennessee had 13 players on the field, and the LSU center snapped the ball, who's now a radio host in Baton Rouge. That was classic Les Miles. I mean, who was Tennessee's coach?
Dooley.
And
Dooley.
And his buddy Chuck Smith was in charge of the defensive line.
Okay, but what happened? Les Miles sucked Dooley into Les Miles' ball of confusion. Just like, what are they doing? They're sending 48 people out there. We got 40 people out there. And before you know it, they've got 13 players on the field. LSU is the right amount. The LSU center, T-Bob Hebert, looks up. The clock is about to run out. He doesn't know they have 13 players on the field. All he knows is, I better snap the damn ball. He snaps the damn ball, goes over the head. Game's supposedly over, but no, Tennessee had 13 players on the field, so LSU gets another play. Because Les Miles sucked Dooley into his ball of confusion. He almost did it against Ole Miss one year. Against Ole Miss, they played at Ole Miss, and Les is running people on and off, and LSU runs out of time, and they lose like by 2 points. I mean, in the final seconds, they're on like Ole Miss's 10-yard line, and they're running people on and off the field. They lose, and after the game, I talked to Houston Nutt. He says, "Yeah, I don't know what was going on. I was about to call a timeout." I'm like, "What? You're going to call a timeout and let him get a field goal kicker on the game?" I know. I just, that's what Les did. Les would just suck you into this ball of this. I don't know what the hell I'm doing, and then you'd end up losing because he would suck you right in. And that's classic Les Miles. And I agree with Amanda. Les got fired because Les didn't know what the hell he was doing. I mean, they got beat by Alabama 21-0 in the national championship game after they won the game 9-6 because Les thought he could play the same game plan and beat them again the same way. Hey, let's beat him with field goals. We're going to run the same damn game plan, and Alabama's not going to. We can beat it because they're not going to change anything. Of course, Alabama changed a lot of stuff, but that's Les. And this is why LSU's program. A lot of people look at LSU's program like it's one of the best programs in the country because one, it has one of the greatest talent bases in the country in Louisiana high school, and two, Les Miles and Ed Orgeron won national championships there. Really?
That's true. That's very true.
It's hard to fathom. It really is hard to fathom.
Look, two things from LSU national championship a couple years ago when it was the best team probably one we've ever seen in SEC history. One, he convinced Joe Burr to come here, basically because he took him out to a seafood restaurant near LSU, and they're out of crawfish, and Ed went back to the kitchen and said, "Go find us some crawfish now," and Joe Burr enjoyed his visit. Also, LSU got a guy named Joe Brady from the New Orleans Saints who was like an offensive analyst or whatever, and he came in as kind of like called some plays along with LSU's offensive coordinator, and just had a great knack of calling plays and was great. But Orgeron didn't know. He told me after that season, I didn't know how good Joe Brady was. I mean, I was shocked as anybody. LSU, everything. It was a perfect storm for LSU that year. Everything came together at the right time, and Burrow was great. I mean, he was a graduate student by that point. I mean, who basically all he did was, I don't know if he even. I think he just took classes online and just went to the football office the rest of the day and studied offense. And they had great talent around them. If you look at the people in the pros now, LSU from that team, it's unreal. So it was a perfect storm. Yeah. And it happens. But again, they didn't keep it going, and Orgeron didn't know how to keep it going. He made bad hires as coordinators. As I said before, didn't even interview one of them before he hired him. And basically, I mean, his last season, he thought that, maybe I can try to recreate the 2019 offense if I hire some guys who work for Joe Brady at Carolina Panthers, because that's where Brady went to after LSU. And of course, Brady's already been fired by Carolina. And he hired these guys who had no college experience whatsoever, and LSU just got killed. So, again, it didn't matter to Ed. By midseason, he was fired. They were paying him $17 million, and he makes a joke about it now. There was a Little Rock touchdown club a few weeks ago and said, when they told him that he was fired, he was getting paid $17 million. He'd say, I asked him, what when you want me to leave and what door you want me to go out of? I mean,
it's pretty good.
Do you know if Ed still has the same cell phone number he had when he was at Tennessee? He might be.
Maybe so. And I'm sure that's funny to some LSU fans. To a lot of people, it's insulting. Like, you took $17 million and didn't do crap the last 2 years, and you're laughing about it because you know what? You might be the smartest guy in the room because you duped LSU for $17 million and just went out the door. And some LSU fans are okay with that. They're like, well, he did win us a national championship in 2019. They were tremendous. Yeah, but so you go 500 the next 2 years with that talent? Come on, man. And that's why the LSU made the change. And LSU got highly criticized for the Brian Kelly hire. I think it's got killed nationally. What does Brian Kelly want to go to LSU for? I mean, they're just all the money they're throwing at him. Well, yeah, LSU's like anybody else. They want to win, and they got a great talent base. And Brian Kelly came to LSU for the same reason Nick Saban came to LSU. LSU puts either every year they're at the top or near the top of pro players in the league per capita from Louisiana. And that's why Brian Kelly came to LSU, because he had a better chance of winning a national championship here than he did at Notre Dame because of the talent base and facilities. And after some funny stuff early where he said family, tried to make a Southern accent, and some of his videos with recruits dancing, which was painful, looked like me dancing, just not pretty. He's been great. He's been good to deal with. He's got a good sense of humor, and LSU fans have kind of like the fact that they see improvement from game to game in most areas, and he's very honest about assessing what's going on.
Ron, great stuff, buddy. TigerDetails.com. We will talk to you soon. Enjoy the game, and I wish I was there with you. It's one of my favorite places to watch a game. Have a great day.
Well, I'm glad it's 11 o'clock because by 12 I can probably go out to lunch.
There you go, Ron. I appreciate it. Well, the food in the press box is pretty good.
Well, it's kind of dropped off. They need to pick up their game. I don't know if it's because they're paying Kelly more money. They got to take money from elsewhere because the media food has been very good. I'm thinking about doing what I did at Tennessee one year and order pizza, have it brought in.
I remember that. Ron, great stuff, buddy. I appreciate it.
Bye, guys. We'll see you.
Thank you.